Everyone is watching Sarah Ferguson's recent troubles, but the shocking reality is she isn't even close to being out of the woods yet.
I think this is the sort of new thing that will begin to emerge in the next few days. I know that a lot of journalists are digging into the story.
Brace yourself, because according to royal insider Andrew Lownie, a massive wave of scandals is about to break, revealing even deeper, more damaging connections to Jeffrey Epstein and Diddy than we ever imagined. This isn't just about the past. New accusations are surfacing that could destroy Sarah's hard-won recovery. We have uncovered details about top-secret encounters in exclusive locations that the palace hoped would stay buried forever. You absolutely must watch until the very end, because one major revelation we are about to share could completely reframe everything you know about this entire network, and it's a total game-changer. Trust me, you do not want to miss a single second of this unfolding story. Before we break down these shocking new claims, make sure to like this video and hit that subscribe button with notifications on. We're tracking every twist of this royal scandal, and you need to stay in the loop. Now, let's get into what's really about to hit the headlines.
Well, I mean, Andrew and Sarah Ferguson are narcissists. I mean, they're very greedy and they're very stupid, and they kind of get lured in. One of my arguments is because there's so little transparency and accountability with the royal family, they are easy targets for foreign powers. And
what if I told you that a high-profile British royal was quietly slipping away to secret meetings with Sean Diddy Combs for years? If someone brought this up a few years ago, you would have laughed it off as a wild internet conspiracy. People assumed there was no way a member of the royal family could ever end up in the music mogul's orbit. But according to investigative author Andrew Lownie, the paper trail and hard evidence paint a completely different picture. It all started to break wide open when photographs surfaced showing Sarah Ferguson side by side with Diddy. At first, sources insisted they only met in the mid-2000s. Then, older pictures emerged, showing her right there at his 29th birthday party back in 1998. That pushed the timeline back nearly a decade earlier than anyone publicly admitted. Just imagine how King Charles, Prince William and the palace reacted when those images hit the internet. This was not just a brief photo op at a crowded celebrity red carpet. In his updated book entitled Andrew Lownie claims Sarah Ferguson and Diddy built an ongoing, off-the-radar dynamic that spanned across multiple continents.
Were they meeting in secret hotels and things, luxury places?
yes, and supposedly in seven-star hotels, certainly a seven-star hotel in Dubai. They were on the circuit. He had plenty of money. She was always very interested in rap. She often had rappers perform at her children's birthday parties.
Reports suggest they met up at mega-luxury retreats in Europe and Africa, high-seas yacht parties in Saint-Tropez, and seven-star hotels in Dubai. We are talking about penthouse suites costing over $114,000 a night. Sources claim Diddy was more than happy to cover those eye-watering bills. So why would Sarah Ferguson risk everything to dive into a world like that? It came down to a dangerous combination of overwhelming debt, a hunger for status, and a personal obsession with hip-hop culture. Insiders say Sarah Ferguson always loved the music scene, even hiring famous performers like Will.I.Am for her daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. And for Diddy, clout was everything. Former associates say he bragged to his inner circle about getting close to British royalty, seeing it as the ultimate badge of honor. It gets even stranger. Andrew Lownie claims Diddy actually named his famous men's fragrance, Unforgivable, in honor of Sarah Ferguson. Think about that for a second, a global perfume launch allegedly named after a royal scandal. Sarah Ferguson's representatives have strongly denied every single one of these claims, calling them completely fabricated nonsense. Yet former staff members and insiders continue to point to those late 90s party photos as undeniable proof. And here is where the story takes a much darker turn. Because two people from completely different worlds do not just bump into each other by accident. According to sources, the person who originally introduced them is tied to the biggest global scandal in modern history.
Who facilitated Diddy and Fergie meetings, do we know?
Well, I understood that they met at a party of Ghislaine Maxwell, but in fact, that was at the beginning of the 2000s. But the pictures have now emerged of her at his birthday party in 1998.
Here is the one name the palace desperately hoped would never get mixed up in this story: Ghislaine Maxwell. Because according to multiple reports, Sarah Ferguson and Diddy did not just cross paths by pure chance at a random celebrity party. Insiders claim that the person who actually introduced them in the very beginning was none other than Maxwell herself. Let that sink in for a moment. Sources say Maxwell hosted an exclusive party in New York where she brought Sarah Ferguson and Diddy into the very same room. And that one introduction allegedly kicked off a secret friendship that lasted for years. Think about how terrifying that connection is for King Charles, Prince William, and the entire royal family. We already know how deeply Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein were tangled up with the royals, so learning that Maxwell was also linking members of the royal family to Diddy creates a massive, dangerous web. It shows that these were not separate worlds at all. They were all hanging out in the exact same high-stakes, off-the-grid circles. Insiders claim Sarah Ferguson was frequently flying out to private events, taking advantage of free luxury travel and relying on wealthy hosts to cover her lifestyle. Reports suggest she was constantly dealing with heavy debts, and these multi-millionaire networks offered a quick, easy way out. Diddy provided the ultimate VIP treatment, and in return, he got direct access to royalty, something money alone could never buy. It was a total win-win for both of them, but a complete disaster waiting to happen for the palace. And just when you think this was simply about rich, famous people partying together, the story takes an even crazier, much more sinister turn. Because according to intelligence sources, there were international figures quietly watching every single move they made.
Which is, again, so it's just this history, isn't it, of somebody wants the status that she gets from being part of the royal family. She wants the money that those people have, and that's the bond. That's it.
Absolutely, and then we saw the same thing with Andrew. There are many more stories of how he abused his position as a trade envoy to make money.
Here is the most terrifying dimension of this whole story. While Sarah Ferguson was living the high life with Sean Diddy Combs, foreign intelligence agencies were allegedly watching every single move. Think about how vulnerable that makes someone. When you combine crushing personal debt with direct access to King Charles, Prince William, and the heart of the palace, you do not just become a tabloid target, you become the ultimate prize for international operatives. According to investigative author Andrew Lownie, Sarah Ferguson and her closest circle were walking straight into a massive, calculated trap. Reports suggest that foreign intelligence assets realized early on how shockingly easy it was to buy their way into royal circles. All it took was clearing millions in mounting debts, offering free private jet rides, or funding extravagant multi-week stays at 7-star luxury resorts. Insiders claim that individuals linked to foreign governments were suddenly showing up at private royal residences, including St. James's Palace and Windsor Castle. We are talking about claims involving alleged Chinese intelligence assets, like businessman Yang Tengbo, who reportedly used commercial ventures and pitch events to build a cozy, direct relationship with the royals before being banned from the UK on national security grounds. It gets even more wild. Andrew Lownie details allegations of a high-tech laptop gifted to the royals that was secretly bugged by foreign agents to harvest sensitive, high-level communications. Just pause and consider the sheer magnitude of that for a second. While Sarah Ferguson was out sipping champagne in Dubai and hopping aboard Diddy's luxury yachts in Saint-Tropez, powerful global players were allegedly collecting compromising leverage behind the scenes. What started as high-flying celebrity fun had suddenly morphed into a major national security nightmare that kept top palace officials awake at night. And the absolute worst part for King Charles and Prince William? The paper trail is not fading. It is actually heating up. Because journalists digging into this exact network claim brand new files are about to drop, linking these elite favors directly back to Diddy's inner circle. If you thought this was just about red carpets and glamorous parties, prepare to be completely blown away by where the money was actually coming from. Because according to investigative reports, Sarah Ferguson was caught in an overwhelming cycle of financial debt, constantly relying on wealthy shadow figures to bail her out. Take the case of wealthy businessman David Tang. Reports suggest Tang paid off a staggering $300,000 of Sarah Ferguson's personal debts. And what did he get in return? Direct access to official royal trade missions, using taxpayer-funded access to boost his own private empire. Think about how jaw-dropping that is. Influential figures were allegedly buying direct entry into King Charles's inner circle, and Sarah Ferguson was holding open the door. Insiders claim her financial situation was so severe that behind closed doors, she was at times forced to rely on Princess Beatrice's own personal credit card just to cover daily living expenses. That level of financial desperation left her wide open to anyone with deep pockets and a desire for influence. Enter Sean Diddy Combs. Author Andrew Lownie alleges that Diddy was not just hosting Sarah Ferguson at public functions, but that their connection turned into a secretive, years-long friends with benefits dynamic starting around 2004. Reports suggest Diddy happily funded her lifestyle, footing the bill for eye-watering penthouse suites in Dubai that ran up to $114,000 a night, alongside private jet travel and VIP access across Europe and Africa. In return, Diddy got what he craved most: the ultimate social trophy of being linked to the royal family. Former staff members allege that Diddy even bragged to his inner circle about his royal connection. Sources claim Sarah Ferguson went so far as to bring a 16-year-old Princess Eugenie to some of Diddy's exclusive events. Just imagine how Prince William, King Charles, and palace officials felt when those details began circulating in royal circles. The palace was utterly terrified of what else might surface from those wild nights. Because as rumors turn into hard evidence, insiders are quietly warning about the ultimate nightmare scenario. Secret tapes and unreleased files that could shatter what is left of the family's reputation forever. What happens when the public finally realizes that the scandals exposed so far are only the beginning? Because according to biographer Andrew Lownie, the palace isn't just dealing with past mistakes. They are brace positioning for a brand new wave of explosive revelations. Reporters from major international outlets are currently combing through financial ledgers, flight records, and hotel guest registers across Europe and the Middle East. And what they are finding could throw the royal family right back into crisis mode. Think about the impossible spot this puts King Charles and Prince William in. While King Charles has worked tirelessly to modernize the monarchy and streamline public image, these emerging paper trails threaten to undo all of that hard-won progress. Insiders warn that as media investigations heat up, more unreleased documentation, party logs, and private communications could spill directly into the public domain. Every time a new detail drops, it connects the dots back to the royal family, reigniting public outrage and raising uncomfortable questions about accountability. While Sarah Ferguson's representatives continue to forcefully deny all claims, insisting these stories are completely fabricated, author Andrew Lownie stands firmly behind his research. And with no legal challenges raised against his reporting, the pressure mounting on the palace is growing heavier by the day. Will this upcoming wave of reporting force the royal family to break their silence and take decisive action, or will the palace try to sweep it under the rug? What do you think about Sarah Ferguson's secret ties to Sean Diddy Combs and these emerging revelations? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button with notifications turned on so you don't miss a single update as this story unfolds.